All right, guys. So are you ready to restart the entire show from the beginning, do the double shot of the week,
and nobody forget a single word they said.
And continue drinking a couple more beers?
Yes. So out of all honesty,
I have my second beer bet. I'm ready.
So truth behold, the video did not work. Truth behold, yes.
Truth be told.
You know what? This is after my double shot and my beer, and I had a workout today, so I'm just out.
And then he ate a burger.
Beefy.
Yeah. So there is no, unless the video miraculously shows up on Green's computer. We don't have video today for this week. So we'll do a freeze.
We're gonna do a quick montage through the entirety of the show, which will be provided within the next 15 seconds on fast forward, live played by us.
Or we're just going to freeze the picture.
We're gonna just
do the audio.
We're just gonna do a freeze frame. So
I want the fast montage and then the freeze frame.
No,
okay.
Go Blazers!
This week on BlazerTag, injuries. Power rankings. Everything's going crazy. But more than anything, Blazers are kind of kicking some ass.
Yes! Woo! I like that ass.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies, I'm sure 2 at least are subscribed. More than 1.
Oh, wait, did we start?
Yeah, we're starting right now.
Okay.
And there's Brandon on the nose for the win.
Right.
I'm in.
So hold on.
And gentlemen.
Brandon, share your computer this week.
Yes. I almost feel like we should restart that. I'm like,
No.
I was looking down the entire time.
No. There's Brandon's computer because someone ran out the door and said, notes?
This-
Who takes notes?
This has been my computer every week.
Yeah, old school over here.
I left
I don't
my chiseled
For those of you
pallets.
listening on audio, I held up an old legal pad. Mine's not yellow, though, because the Amazon ones are white.
It should be illegal. I don't know.
Illegal?
It's
It's an eagle that is not feeling well.
Is it kinda
Anyways, you guys are lingering too long.
Is
I
it
need,
kind of like El Nino?
I need to get to the
El
important
Eagle?
part of this segment.
Hey,
so we
let's-
have some beer bet results in.
Whoa, we do?
So
do.
I'll leave it to the winner to jump straight to the winnings.
It'll be the
So-
only time I win
Oh,
all
man.
season, so damn straight. So
The theme of the opening end of this episode is Witty was right about just about everything. Yeah. So we're going back 2 episodes for the first payout. That was you, Brandon. What do we have?
So a combined score between Blazers and Macaroni. I decided to say I chose 178 points combined total score. Green chose 190. Witty chose 211, despite what he says. He says 210 in there. The final score was 210.
Final score 210. Look right there. See on the notes 211.
Now just.
There you go.
Thought I heard something. Maybe I'm crazy.
So Witty gets some wit in your half.
I thought we were going Price's Right rules, which technically excludes you. But I'll let you have it because 1 point off is damn good.
There we go. And so for the following week's beer bet, because we filmed early previously to accommodate Mr. Dave Deckert's schedule, go check out that episode. It's gold if you haven't seen it or heard it already. Was the projected starters for the opening game. And you know, CJ decided that he wanted to kind of try to throw a wrinkle in it for us.
Oh, man.
And so I'm kind of very glad that I predicated that it was on the forward spot, because otherwise we all just would have been going, say what? And so Brandon, your starting lineup, you projected Dame, CJ, Nurk, Aminu, and Davis.
I still stand by that.
Davis was a good pick, and I, for some reason, had the same lineup, except I replaced Davis with Swanigan just cuz.
And I had the same lineup, except I put Harkless in, and there you go.
Harkless winds up showing up.
Harkless starts at 3, though.
Now
but he was first in.
But
now the kicker of it is that if you go back and look at the game recap and the box score, Davis and Swanigan checked in within about half a second of each other. So both these guys on the text that are going, wait, did you lose? Did I lose? Did you lose? Did I lose?
I mean, they walked from the table at the same time. So I went ahead and I paid up for this one since he already had lost a beer bet. But if there's another tie, we're just going to remember this.
Honey, I'm going to need you to drive me home tonight.
And she'll hear this tomorrow.
Much like most nights.
You know, in honor of it, because it was started, I will give you guys some friend beers, as I call them. I will bequeath them to you. And so, you know, let me know when you need me to open that for you later.
I like bequeathing.
So, moving right along into other things that Whitty was right about. Before we even were able to post the video last time, we'd had the discussion of who would be the 15th man on the roster, and Whitty was the man who said, no, it won't be either one. They're going to save money for the salary cap. And Brandon and I both thought, no, but Morrow, man. Morrow's looking good. And Briscoe could. I mean, maybe. And then it was less than an hour later that the news comes out. They're both gone.
Yep, I said right from the get-go that the Blazers are going for cap space. You know, with all the $13.9 million worth of trade exceptions that they have, they wanted to keep as much cap space as humanly possible to be able to possibly, if, you know, come trade deadline, take on all the expiring contracts. The one kicker is that the trade deadline this year is a little earlier. They put it before the All-Star break.
Well,
and so
after last season.
Yeah.
Of course they did.
Yeah,
Oh,
and so
man.
our first trade exception that we got from Mason Plumlee, which is a measly $400,000, expires in the middle of the All-Star break. So if Neil Olshey wants the most bang for his buck out of everything, he'll use the totality of them before then. But I told you, they're going to leave it open. They're going to keep signing all these two-way players, this C.J. Wilcox and whoever the heck Wade Baldwin is. I don't know if he's related.
The two-way contracts don't count against your cap.
No, they don't.
And
but
also, you're paying a guy like, I mean, I know guys working for Home Depot making that type of money. So
this is true.
It's not really a real big commitment. By the way, how do you go from being the 17th pick to signing a two-way contract for pennies?
I don't know if Greg Oden still had knees. I mean, he could probably tell us, but
Oh, I gotta bring up Oden. Why you gotta bring up Oden?
Will there be a 40 for 40 on that, or is it 30 for 30?
it's 30 for 30.
You know what? I'm already drunk, so good night, folks.
40 for 40. Edward 40 hands here.
You know what? And so on that note of Brandon being drunk, I kind of want to move into my new favorite topic of the week, and it only is because of this man's facial expressions. And the debate.
I'm not emotionally prepared for this.
And the debate that went on
we
pre-show.
We are burning through all of our regular weekly segments. We're going to live in some news for a long time today.
I'm sorry. We were wondering what the hell we were going to talk about, and the season started, and I'm like, I have 37 pages of notes. Where are we going with it?
I have a lot. How much can we cut is the question.
Yeah.
How can we be
But
concise?
I do want to jump into it only because we all agreed to it, and I feel as though we should get it out of the way before Brandon has any more beer. And while he still has a chaser.
Well, you know, liquor before beer, you're in the clear.
Yeah, and so that
I've only had 3 sips, so I mean, this is a qualifiable liquor before
and
beer.
so that is the shot of the week. And
So
that
let's go ahead and bring that shot up. And again, you'll be able to see it roughly here.
Now, there were better...
Or there.
There were better shots this week. Definitely better shots. But the agreement we all made a few weeks ago was very clear, and that is if Nurkic actually hits a 3 ever, we're doing a double. And lo and behold... against Maccabi Haifa, Hafi
against Macaroni,
against Weifu, whoever
the
they
Macarena.
are, he pulled it off. I mean, it might as well have been against the Suns, but that's beside the point.
That sweet layman assist killed his defender, broke him down.
Right there, top of the arc.
And on top of that, you know, I was kind of expecting Nurk's first 3-pointer to be like, I got toes right on the line, and we'll see how well this works. No, that man was a good, solid... Yeah, you got to lean over to see it. This is why you don't need paper notes. But no, that man was a good, solid step behind the line, queued it right up, nothing but net, drills it down.
And he's wearing that god-awful face mask.
Yeah.
He's not wearing it anymore.
That thing's horrible.
I know, I'm going to miss that face mask. I feel like that scares the enemy.
Yeah, the lighting
that
guy
face
in the
mask
background.
is how we got ahead in that Phoenix game early on.
I don't know. We were still kicking ass when he took it off later on.
Yeah, speaking of the Phoenix game, we'll have plenty to talk about with that.
Yeah.
There's
All right.
lots of fun
Anyways,
now,
so in
to
honor of
Nurkic.
Nurk,
All right, to
this
Nurk.
is for you, the Bosnian beast.
Yes, this will take me at least 5
I could
minutes
not
to
find the
calm
drink
down.
of your country, so I settled for vodka.
Ugh. I haven't even... Ugh.
You had a sip.
Did you just...
That was... Oh, man. Oh, wow.
Oh, that's some quality
Mine was
video.
rough right there.
I haven't even had it. I barely took off the top. There's no way I can physically do this.
Yeah, we believe in you.
We have faith.
I believe in myself too. But the viewer doesn't want to listen to me chug through this. I'm
yeah.
going to gum through it.
We're watching.
Okay, you
We're
know what? Okay.
And he lifts the glass. It's to his lips, and he pulls back halfway. Oh, the pain!
You know,
the
gross.
disappointment.
Don't you hate it when a player just can't commit
I
all the
can't
way?
commit.
Oh man, that was straight up Myers Leonard. He looked like he was
So,
gonna shoot
yeah.
the three.
There's
He
one thing-
wound up.
there's
No,
one
no,
thing-
no.
And then
I got
the
one
defender
better for
showed
you.
up, and he just
That was
released too
that was
early.
the Al Farouk Aminu pump fake dribble drive. That's what that was.
So there's one thing we know for certain. I will not become an alcoholic because I cannot shoot liquor, and I will never depend on this stuff.
I think most doctors would say I'm an alcoholic, and I don't typically shoot liquor. So
It depends on your definition of alcoholism, and based on mine, you're already there, Brandon.
yeah.
Just committing to the shot.
Let's just call this an assist, self-made assist. He passed to himself. He's in the lane. He's got the cup. He's going to the hole,
And
and he's hesitating. But he pulls. Oh no, and off the rim.
okay, well,
Oh.
for that reference, I'm going to give you the Nurk tentative layup at the tail end of the Milwaukee game, which we will get into as well.
Oh.
Couldn't go up strong and finish.
No, he wanted to draw the foul.
Yeah, there
And
was
he
a
didn't
lot
get
of
the foul.
And if we're gonna
And
talk,
don't get me started on that.
you know what?
We'll
that
get to that, but
you
we're
know what?
waiting
Let's
on
go
you.
Ahead. Since we're talking about it already, that's the most recent game, that Milwaukee game. The last couple minutes, there was a
it's
lot
gross.
there was a lot of Blazers hoping for fouls and not getting them. Now, mind you, there was a couple times where I felt like they probably should have got them, and there was once where they weren't even trying to get it, and CJ just got groped, and then the NBA said, no, that wasn't a foul on the after report.
Yeah, and so this is probably the first time that I've ever actually dove into the last 2 minutes of the game report that the NBA has released, which I actually do think is a good thing on their part to put out. Gives you somewhat of where's the mind of the official. But to read the definition of it didn't interrupt his flow, movement, shot, gather. I'm sorry, if I were to hug either one of you standing on the opposite side, I'm pretty sure it would limit your movement.
And not to say that the Greek freak alone has got to reach 10 feet long. So,
Actually,
he's
they
got-
did a really fun. Was it I forget if it was ESPN the magazine or one of the might have been Sports Illustrated did a write up on what they're doing in Milwaukee, and basically all they're doing is trying to find crazy long guys.
They went late.
That's it.
They got the longest team in the.
I
currently.
think their point guard has a reach that equates to what Batum's did when he was on the Blazers.
Yeah.
Not that his arms have changed, but still,
Well,
I mean,
maybe
I'm
they
giving that
have,
reference.
But yeah, that said, you look at the guy and you look at that picture of him wrapping his arms around CJ, and you're like, yeah, no, that's reaching.
Yeah.
At the very least, that's reaching. That's a gentle way of saying
I
it.
once saw a stick figure definition in the NBA rulebook of what reaching is. It was that.
No. There was 100% contact. He came in and reached the ball. If that play would have been a foul, we would have had 2 points there. The point wouldn't have come on the backside of the court, and we would have won that game. That's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. I don't care what people say in the posts. I see people on Facebook that are like, the Blazers lost, get over it, it wasn't a foul, yada, yada, yada.
So in that
bullshit, I defend my team.
In that regard, where do you stand in the fact that Damian Lillard himself came out on Twitter and said that's great defense with a clip of that defensive play
Nope.
from
Sellout.
Antetokounmpo? Which
He doesn't
yes,
wanna pay
I
mon-
prepped all
he
day
doesn't
on how
wanna
to
pay
pronounce
money.
his name.
Well, you know who Damian Lillard is? He's the guy who's gonna put it all on him. He's like, I didn't win the game. That's on me. And you know what? You looked at him the last couple minutes. He was trying to win it, and he couldn't. So I think he's probably beating himself up over it. And realistically, if he had 2 or 3 drives in the last few minutes that were hoping for fouls or looking like he could have been fouled, but he didn't get a call.
Minutes, the entirety of the third quarter. I think I even texted you guys that Dame went into beast mode and willed them.
Oh, yeah.
Solely by himself back
Dame
into the game.
Dame
Yeah.
played a beautiful game.
Yes, he did.
And he had a couple times where he came up short at the end. But, I mean, that was the only game out of the 3 so far. The first 2, obviously the Suns game, the Blazers looked like they owned it from start to finish.
Well, no, there was that beginning where it was 9-2.
Yeah.
They were
Yeah,
up
but
7 points.
even
And
then, it
since
didn't
then,
look-
the Suns have gone downhill. But no, so
But if you look
And
at
one coach and
Friday's
Bledsoe
game,
later.
the Blazers, even when they weren't really running way ahead, the Blazers looked like they were the better team clearly.
Yeah.
Saturday night against the Bucks,
No.
Blazers didn't look like the better team at all. They looked like a team that was going to steal it.
okay. But on that regard, Stott's running the short rotation that he did. Does anybody? I mean, I understand it's early in the season, but I still found myself shocked that until Dame got into foul trouble, Stotts was only 8 men deep into his rotation.
Yeah.
On the second night of a back-to-back. The only reason that Shabazz had any sort of minutes that game was because Dame had his 4 fouls in the third quarter.
What didn't he go like 10 players deep?
9.
Ultimately? 9?
9-man
Oh, yeah.
rotation.
It was
and that's like playoff level rotation. That's not we're starting off the season second night of the back-to-back rotation.
Yeah, and that is
You're not
a
going to
little
see
surprising.
You're
to
not
me.
going to see that out of Cleveland and Golden State and all those people.
no, they're going to play their full roster. For the
And I think
injuries.
realistically, I mean, it's 3 games in. We're still seeing some experimenting from Stotts. And I think he figured the difficulty of this game. He didn't want to take a chance with some of the deeper bench guys. I will say, though, even in that game, and really every game so far, Pat Connaughton has proved my very late, I think he was ranked 12 ranking.
What's
on
our
the
new
team.
nickname
No,
for the
wrong.
man? What were we given by the Miss Brooke Olzendam? Or
Is it Fastball Patty or
it's
Patty
Fastball.
I want to call him
Fastball.
Fastball Patty.
Well,
but
I mean, yeah, he plays baseball too. But still, Patty fastball. Come on.
Oh, no, it's a great.
That's a nickname
gets
that's
in releases.
stupid.
That's
Oh,
a
it's
nickname that gets you
wonderful.
beat up on the playground.
It's a hell of a shot.
No.
That
That gets you an ass whooping.
and
Patty fastball. I mean, come on.
say what you want about it. Dude's making shots.
He's making
He's
shots.
having the season of his career, and it's only 3 games in.
Yeah.
In fact, he's probably done better statistically in the last 3 games
I have-
than the totality
you
of
might as
last
well
season.
call-
Oh, no.
Patty-
Okay, hold on. I want to we're going to
No.
slightly bounce around here. So, Pat Connaughton.
Hit me up
his-
with your bad
in the
pronunciation that's intentional.
I'm making an effort. I apologize, Pat. But anyways, in the
No
totality
apologies.
of his career up until the Phoenix game, he had only scored 148 points.
No, he increases his total points scored by what 14%.
Yes.
Yeah, in that one
That
game.
is that is
I
an
would like to
expert.
thank Dave Deckard for tweeting that, by the way.
Yes, thank you. But no.
Hashtag Dave Deckard.
Yes.
Thanks,
But anyways,
Dave. Thanks
try-
for everything.
To try to get the show
Really,
back on
thanks.
track in the note order that I wrote it. No.
Yeah, good luck with
No,
that.
the last little bit, because I touched on it a tad earlier. So Nurk going up for that last minute layup. Okay, yeah, clean block. I was kind of surprised to see that in the last 2 minute report from the league, because I didn't think the Antetokounmpo block on Nurk was all that much contested. I saw it. I said, that looks like a great block from an MVP caliber player. But all I got to say is the same thing that Jack Ramsey used to tell people, and that is you take the ball at the shot blocker. You don't take the ball away from the shot blocker. That makes their life easier. Nurk, you dunk. When you're going to go down there, you don't play for the foul. You play for the 2 points. You get that. If you get the 1 extra out of it at the tail end of it, you go with it.
So not to derail us, how are you feeling about Nurk 3 games in?
Slightly
Yes,
disappointed. The man needs to get out of his own head. It just seems like the first bit of adversity that he's hit, he's just everything that goes wrong with him. You see his head drop. You see his demeanor change. You see him run up the floor more.
I feel like you're saying it right, but I feel like statistically, maybe I'm wrong. The numbers aren't really bearing out that he's doing awful. I mean, he seems to be playing. I mean, maybe not his best games at all, but he's still playing. For a starting center, he's playing respectably.
This is true. And his defensive efficiency ranking, he is ranked number 30th out of the top 50 players in the league.
Yeah.
But again, any 7 foot tall beastly white guy that you park in the middle of the lane is going to have an effect on a game. I'm not saying he doesn't have an effect on the game. I'm just saying the expectations that we had coming into the season, I don't necessarily think that he's living up to. But I think that's a two-way coin. I think that the city of Portland and the NBA narrative and media and all that maybe put a little bit too much pressure on him, and he's not used to having to deal with that. And I also think that maybe we put a little bit too high of expectations on him to come out the gate and be in that mid-season post-trade
Well, he
deadline
looked
form.
like it in the preseason. He looked great.
Yeah.
Where you at, Brandon?
I was
on
going to
him?
say the same thing. I mean, he comes in. He crushes those 12 or 14 games, whatever. When he comes in last season, ends the season strong, gets injured. We're all like, oh no, what if Nurk was here for the playoffs? What would we see? What would he do? And we kind of like had this image in our head, like Nurk was our savior. Like, and then come this season, we're all thinking he's going to come here and he's going to be like the player, the X factor, the big three, and I still think he's there. Like he could be there, but like as far as a player goes, we haven't seen that. We haven't seen like the 20-point game. Like there's 20 points, 20 rebounds.
I've never thought Nurk was going to be an all-star. Maybe I'm crazy on that end.
Oh, no, I agree.
I've always felt like
out in the West, he's not going to get it. No.
I've always felt like he's the type of guy that fits perfectly in Stott's system to make guys like Dame and CJ look really good and make the other random forwards just look all right. But speaking of, last year that injury kind of ruined us. So let's go ahead and let's transition a little bit. I'm bouncing around the notes, so you guys just deal with it.
I'll hate you later.
Deal.
I spent 1 week on these things, you asshole.
And I'm hitting as many of those points as I can. But we had over our group text thread, we had the conversation started, saved most of it for here. Who, if injured, are we screwed most by? What ruins the season?
You all know my answer, and based off the topic we just had, both of you please go first.
Well, yeah. That's easy for me. CJ.
Really?
Wow, did not see that coming. I am actually shocked.
Yeah. Hit me with that. Spell this out
Because
for me.
so far, the one game that CJ missed, we set a record.
Yeah. So, I know it doesn't look good, but honestly, like, the Suns just suck. Flat out, they just suck. And they have a terrible season.
Just ask
fair.
Earl Watson and Eric Bledsoe.
Yeah, Bledsoe.
For the record,
yeah.
For the record, I don't work for the Portland Trailblazers organization. Duh. But Earl Watson, if you want to be an assistant coach on our team, come on over, man. I would gladly welcome you back. Great guy, great
How many
character
former
guy,
point
great
guards
worker,
are we going to have as
super
coaches?
smart guy. Why not?
Just load the
Bring
box.
him in.
You know, I
love
the
Watson.
box.
I was listening
Anyway,
to
go on with CJ.
It's a little side note here. I was listening to Dan Patrick, and he was talking about coaches.
Oh, that man.
Well, you know what?
Not a
I got
fan.
it. Yeah, but you know what? He was talking about coaches, and he had a good point. He said like there are
Cowherd
coaches
all the way.
that are great assistant coaches, but make terrible head coaches because they're good players on a team and a system, but they're terrible decision makers. So yeah, with Watson,
That's how I feel the rest of the Sun season will go with their interim coach of Jay Triano. He did a
Jay
great
Jay
job
Triano.
in Portland. But you have that man rolling out the ball from
I
now
love
on.
The first decision he's made as a team is to end Bledsoe's career in
Technically,
in Phoenix.
Bledsoe ended that himself.
No.
2 hours.
Yeah,
2
that
hours.
tweet was-
2 hours
No,
before they
I
announced the
disagree.
firing.
I disagree. He made the tweet, sure, but you don't fire the man or you don't kick him out
Fill
of the
the
team.
audience in on the tweet. Those who don't have Twitter.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Twitter.
I don't want to be here anymore. Is that what
No,
you said?
Yes.
Yes. And quote, I don't want to be here.
Yes.
And that's it.
Yes, and then 2 hours later, it was announced that they were letting Earl Watson go as the head coach, and now the GM has come out and said that
Bledsoe's played his last game. He came
Bledsoe
from
played his last game, and they are currently, I think their number one trade partner at the moment is the Knicks.
Yeah, no, they hung up. So like Bledsoe came to
The
practice.
Knicks offered him like a Snickers bar and
No,
Well,
the Suns won.
Isn't Bledsoe a shooting guard?
yes.
See,
Well, but he can double as a point guard. He's kind of like CJ in that manner.
I mean,
I got his stats right here.
we're bouncing everywhere, but let's just go ahead and really quick. I mean, you think they'd take Evan Turner straight up?
No, I want Turner, and I will get into why later.
I would
I actually really like Evan Turner, but I'm just saying, like, you got to be kidding me if you don't think that is a clear upgrade to go.
There's
Turner to
0% chance Suns would not swap.
My biggest thing for why Bledsoe should not become a Blazer is for the simple fact that if he's already a malcontent in Phoenix as a starter, do you think his attitude's going to change any being a bench player?
I do love that we have a great attitude team generally all around.
100%.
So that said, I'd be tempted. I mean, again, if we can give him $2 and a taco for him, it's a hell of a piece of talent for that.
Yep.
It's true, but it'll never come to fruition. I don't think he's
moving
a character
right along.
match.
I'll end with this. Last season, Bledsoe 21.1 points, 2.3 rebounds, and 3 assists per game
as a starter.
Yes, that's pretty fantastic.
So
what are we going?
let's
Small
circle
ball
back
lineup,
around.
and we got Lillard, McCollum, and Bledsoe. Then
No, Bledsoe comes off the bench.
Not going to happen. He's not going to accept it. He wants his starting high paycheck role.
And you're going to have to go be unhappy somewhere else in a system that you're going to... He'll basically be on lease for 2 years, and then he'll go somewhere else.
So here's the important question. Going right back to it. Why are we more screwed with C.J. McCollum injured than anybody else?
Because, like I said, you remember how we're talking about Shabazz and how Shabazz spells Dame?
Yeah.
I'm looking at you, Whitledge.
I'm aware. I'm scrolling down
McCollum
because we're just
Dame,
bouncing everywhere. I have to find where I am.
McCollum spells Dame even better. So like
that is true.
So I mean, without CJ, Dame is just kind of a noise in the crowd. He's a noise in the team.
Wow,
in my opinion,
downplay Dame.
No, Dame is a great player, but
That's
honestly,
a burn.
Dame is the best player.
I know that, but Dame needs CJ. In my opinion, he does.
I can't agree. I would say CJ needs Dame a lot more than Dame needs CJ.
And I completely agree
this
with
is like
that
a
statement.
codependent relationship, but I think
honestly, Dame was great before CJ got the chance.
I need to win beer bets more often because I've elbowed this box. I'm not tipping anything today.
Well, that's good. We're going to win this whole beers. But either way, I think CJ. I mean, I think CJ's, is kind of like, I don't know. I like CJ a lot. I think he's got an incredible attitude. He's a credible player, credible point scorer.
I concur on all those things, but he's number 3 for me. Whitledge already made it clear, didn't say it on here, but Whitty was a Nurk guy, and as true as that is, we are completely screwed if Dame's gone. I did do a little mild research, not a bunch. I did just the on-off court differentials for the players, so points per 100 possession.
Did you do current for this year or
I did
last
year because this year's only 3 games deep. And,
True.
And there's not really a way for that.
Small sample size for the win.
Exactly. So I used last year, and mind you, I mean, there is, a point to be made that, when Dame's on the court, we score almost 8 points a game more, or 8 points per 100 possessions more than we do when he's off. We do also get scored on 3 extra points while he's on the court. So there is that. You compare that. Now, Nurk is the biggest swing. Nurk is actually statistically better than Dame as far as that category goes. When Nurk is on the court, we score 7 points more a game, so we score 1 point less. But on the efficiency side for defense, the other team scores 4 points less. So that's a 7-point swing on the defensive side with Nurk compared to Dame, and only a 1 point difference. With CJ, actually, it was +4 and +0.2. So we score 4 points more than the other team. The other team, when he's off the court, they score an extra 0.2.
Yeah. See,
so on the court, they score an extra 0.2.
My argument this year is that I took last year's rankings into consideration. But, I mean, again, they've beat the dead horse for the last 2 years of we've worked on our defense, Dame and CJ. This is the only time that in the beginning of the season that we've actually seen
there's
some
evidence.
sort of marked improvement. As it stands right now, Damian Lillard is, never mind. Chief is actually rated as the Blazers' highest ranked defender for defensive efficiency.
Small sample size.
Again, yes, this will all balance out throughout the year. But
he is actually, last year, he was our most efficient defender. At least
like
out
the
of
Greek
the top
freak
5,
averaging
6
38
guys.
points a game.
Yes, but
3 games.
Then we're like, everyone's quote-unquote shocked face comes in, is that Dame is 4 spots behind him at number 11 in the league as being...
Yeah. Excuse my
I was going to say,
that little
wow.
There's a little fart sound if it didn't catch on the mics.
But Dame and the visible evidence or it passes the eye test. Both Dame and CJ have had very active hands. They've been very bothersome. Dame has made like an appearance to like body up on his defenders or whatnot. But to get back to answer your question, the one that I do think would be the most influential loss is Nurk. And I bring that back to what I said in the beginning of the season. Yeah. Because I'm guilty of it, is that I hang a lot of expectations on Nurk. Mm-hmm. The biggest change in our roster, technically, from last season was Nurk. We only got like a post All-Star break Nurk.
Now,
he didn't make it into the playoffs, anything like that. But the big guy in the middle, he has
all season long though. I would interject here with Ed Davis last year. Played his worst basketball ever, and that was before and during Nurk time, and he's already back to better than he was before.
And I will give you that. And Ed Davis got
I think
screwed
Ed
tail end of the
Davis,
year with his
the
injury.
drop from Ed Davis, or the drop from Nurk to Ed Davis, that's a big drop. It is, for sure. Mm-hmm. But the drop from Damian to Evan Turner with Shabazz as a backup is a much harder drop. Also, ignoring just the quality of basketball, because, I mean, if you're talking about quality basketball, I think that's a conversation. Like, I don't know that there's a clear answer as far as who quality of basketball is the more effective or more problematic loss. It could be Nurk.
You're playing to everybody's different style points.
But if we're talking heart,
some people like big men,
yeah.
some people like the jump shooter, some people like the dribble drive, you know.
This guy likes big men.
Only this one right here.
He patted Brandon. Anyway, that said, if you're talking about leadership, heart and soul of the team, the guy who's going to make sure games are won and who's going to push everybody else forward.
His name is Terry Stotts.
And his next name beyond that, Damian Lillard, probably actually above Terry Stotts. Terry Stotts is a hell of a coach, but I think Damian's the guy who, more than anyone else, will call everyone out and he will get shit done. He is that guy.
I'll give you that.
And he's a rapper. So, I mean,
we're still waiting on our shirts again, Dame. But no, I will give you that. I personally, because we had 2 seasons technically of Dame and CJ. Both of them have dealt with their injuries for 2 seasons and prospered or failed miserably. Nurk is the current wild card, and as the national media has proclaimed, he's the difference maker coming into this season. That I'm going to buy into that narrative as naive and dumb and whatever, and I will be more than happy to swallow my words later on down the line.
Yeah.
But that's where I'm hanging my hat on it.
Well, with Nurk, though, for me, I could care less about his point scoring, and I'd rather have his defense.
No, and that's where I'm
realistically, I think he probably has a better effect on the guys around him and making them all better just by existing than anybody else does.
So one thing I want to run by you guys is that, in all honesty, I don't see Nurk in the starting lineup. How Stotts has been running the system so far this year, I don't see Nurk finishing the year averaging anything more than possibly 13, 14 points a game. Realistic, or am I
think that's plausible.
For a center, though, that's actually not.
Yeah, for a center, that's kind of realistic.
Yeah.
I know.
I mean, I would predict that he will average a double-double.
Yeah,
no, I'll give him the
rebound
double
points.
But the thing is that a lot of it doesn't matter where you read it from, but a lot of media outlets and fan comments were that, they finally have another 20-point-a-game scorer. I don't think you can maintain Dame, CJ, and Nurk. That's not getting you 60 points. They're not going to be the OKC on game 1 where we're going to take 89 of our team's 104 shots. That's not the system they run.
Can we really quick?
Changing,
let's go ahead and left turn
You want to
here.
touch on that?
Can we touch on just how stupid the NBA is right now? Just like every team, the Warriors coming out weirdly
Pull
weak.
up those power rankings.
The one man with the computer in the room.
The Rockets immediately lose Chris Paul for several weeks and start doing better as soon as he's off the floor.
Yeah, that meshes perfectly well with James Harden's comments of, I can't wait to not have to be the one that just has to dribble the ball constantly to wait for offense. And even me and Brandon watched that first game together, and probably more than half the game, James Harden, it just evolved into him dribbling the ball and making a shot.
Yeah, walk up and pull a 3. I mean, I was actually kind of funny with the whole first game. I was like, man, the Golden State got their rings. Everyone was cheering. They're at home. Oh, life is good. We're Golden State. We're the best. And I was like, God, you know what? Like, as much as I don't want to see Rockets win, I hope they crush Golden State. And, isn't Golden State turning into the villain at this point?
Yeah, it's weird how
they will never, in my book.
There.
Cleveland will forever be the villain.
Well,
Whatever team LeBron is on will forever be the villain.
Those two next to each other, it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
But that said, otherwise, yeah, I mean, as soon as Kevin Durant, so John Cena at the ESPYs made the comments about how pro wrestling and other pro sports are basically the same. As soon as one guy becomes a bad guy, somebody else has to become the good guy, and vice versa. And he made that joke, and he said, As soon as one guy becomes the good guy, shows LeBron now in a Cleveland jersey, follows up with somebody else becomes the bad guy, cuts to a scene or a picture of Durant behind him in the Warrior jersey, and that's just kind of the way it is, right?
Yeah.
That's just, I mean, Durant kind of chose to become a villain by jumping on a bandwagon.
So the first year that Golden State, because that was their second ring, right?
Yes.
Yes. So the first year that Golden State won it.
Not of all time, but
No, not of all time, but in the recent era. But yeah, no, the first
sure the
time that
Blazers
Golden
won
State won it, they
76, 77 season, but like.
Well, yeah, but they 75, 76.
Okay.
Yeah, 75, 76. Don't you take 77 away from us, you bastard.
Like, isn't that part of the 77 season?
No. Anyways, the first time the Golden State won it, wow,
I am
showing your
confident along
fandom.
today.
I feel as though everybody was pleasantly surprised. Oh, hey, look, the young start spunky kid, they made it. And then, next year Cleveland won. Last year when Golden State won, I really think that is when they turned the corner and became the team to beat, the villain, and I think they entered into this season thinking their shit didn't stink one bit. And they were shown.
This season has started out very much the same as Rocky 3. Like, Rocky 3 has that montage of, look, he's beating everybody. But meanwhile, look, there is, over there on the corner, Mr. T kicking everybody's ass. But for some reason, Rocky won't fight him. And then, what happens in the middle? Oh, Rocky loses. And that's really where the Warriors are. They're all of a sudden, they're Rocky, the undefeatable champion, who turns out, you put him up against tough competition. It's not an easy, path forward.
And then who did they just lose to recently? Speaking of tough competition, the Grizzlies.
Yeah, I got nothing to say about that.
As a Blazer fan, Grizzlies.
Hell no. Who do they have? Gasol? Like,
who have they had? Gasol?
What happened to Randolph?
He went to Sacramento.
Oh, God, I even forgot about that for the upcoming game recap.
Yeah, so, I mean, you have, like...
Has Randolph played a minute so far?
You have Golden State with a terrible-looking record beginning of the season. They're 1 game, 2 loss.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was very
speak
pleased.
well, NBA.
I was very pleased. Yeah, I know, right? This is why I don't do shots beginning of the fucking show.
Well,
I was actually hoping to save that for later, but here we are.
No, I just want to jump right
By the way,
into that.
I feel so fancy right now.
But you have Golden State, though, coming in, losing their home opener. And, the home opener. I can't say anything else about that. That was fantastic alone.
Well,
but then to lose against the Grizzlies,
who are currently beating the Rockets at this very moment, 96-90.
They're just on a rampage.
With 4:15 left. Oh, what? Hold on. No, that's quarter 4. So 15 seconds left.
But you know what? It's even more incredible is that 1 and 4, right? They're still power ranked at 4 or 1 and 2. Like,
well, they're still
Boston,
the odds-on favorites.
Boston.
That says Cleveland at 4. They're at 3.
Oh, they were at 4 earlier. I promise you that.
No,
that was right. That was right.
There we go.
So they're at
Bring
3.
your computer next time.
No, but like Boston went from power rank they were number 2 to 15 in 1 week because Hayward's out. That's it. That's 15.
Okay, speaking of Hayward. Ow!
So side note, I want to go on a tiny tangent. Next
this
time
is like the theme of the show. I'm going to retheme it. Tangent. I'm just going to call it episode 5
it's
tangent.
Episode 5, everywhere we go
next
is
time
somewhere new.
You ever text us and we're like, oh my gosh, the Gordon Hayward injury, that was brutal. Just send up the NSFW. Just let us know, don't have finished eating dinner recently, don't have taken a sip of water,
I Googled it up front, and I looked at the picture, and I was like, oh, that picture is nasty. Okay.
Yeah,
and I just assumed it was like a weird angle. And then I went and watched the video, and it was like, oh, no.
Yeah, I hadn't yet turned on the game. I was just getting ready to. I got the text from you, and so I dug it up on YouTube, and I just about spewed chunks everywhere. When you see a man's foot have done a 180 on his leg.
Well, yeah, initially it looked like his foot came out of his shoe, but no, that wasn't his foot. That was his ankle bone.
Yeah.
And you know what's even weird or crazier? They're saying that he might return April 8th.
Oh, I heard that, and I'm like...
I don't get that.
I did not realize this $6 million man had become more than a show and had become a reality.
Well, there was that Paul George injury where he made it back for the playoffs.
The next season.
Yeah,
the
but
next
he was a
season.
shadow of himself.
Yeah. No, I got nothing on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was gross. On that note,
All right.
we have nothing but respect for Gordon Hayward.
Great player, heal fast, get well soon, man.
Yeah, that nobody wishes that on anybody.
You're a great player. Giannis is a great player. I hate you, Giannis. That's just the way life is.
And so to kind of tie back into the injury note, just the news notes and updates per se. Jeremy Lin out for the year.
Also, Jeremy Lin
Got
cheers
some- got
to
some-
ya.
Played a
Bad
grand
news.
total of 33 minutes this year. And we already touched on it. Chris Paul out his 2 to 4 weeks with the left knee bruise. I would love
All
to.
of that should have been the segue into our conversation about injuries.
It should have, but you all wanted to derail my notes.
I love derailing.
It's actually at the top of the segue on my notes.
Yeah, but
But
were you
we've been
leaning forward or
tangenting
backward
all
on that
night long.
segue?
Anyways, all right, yeah, that's the tangent. All right, so we're gonna kind of bring this back around.
All right.
Well, there are more injuries to note. I mean, obviously, keep noting. Obviously, we have Batum is out, then elbow.
Oh, I saw the cutest
Isaiah-
picture that Batum tweeted earlier. It was his son in the jersey, and it said, baby bat. He said at least one Batum will be suiting up tonight, and he was wearing a tiny Batum jersey that said baby bat. I'm sorry, that was cute. That was my puppy picture of the week.
Isaiah Thomas out till around beginning of January.
That's not news. We've known that
we know
since
that.
like 3 months ago.
I'm just throwing out this injury update. The
All right,
re-update.
Anything else we have on last week's Blazers stuff before we start looking to next week? Looking to the future?
I just
Yeah,
how
we
can
crushed the
not-
first 2 games. What's it also say? Yeah.
We crushed
Well-
the first 2. That last one was painful.
66,
Yeah,
68 points
Yeah, that
total
side note,
combined
the
lead.
only thing that I want to touch on with the Suns game,
Yeah.
what were your guys' initial reactions as soon as that frickin' wildfire caught?
Well, we were all sitting here together.
Yeah, we were all hanging out
watching
in
it
my
together,
living
and I'm pretty sure Green was standing the entire time screaming every time a kind of a wild 3 was made.
It just kept getting crazier.
Like it would be
And
like
you
this.
brought
We're
the
watching-
baby out to
we're-
watch his
we're-
first
yeah.
real Blazer
We're all
game.
watching, and if you're watching live stream, he'd be like, like
I'm a very happy.
he's a very
Blazer fan when I
enthusiastic man,
watch.
and I loved it.
I scream a lot at the TV. The Suns game, there was very little cursing, very little anger, mostly just me enjoying life. Really,
And it was me tweeting out every time. I was queuing my tweets up, like, oh, up by 20. Oh, up by over 30. Oh, up by over 40. Oh, up by over 50.
And I think that ended up with you in a basket, or were you driving the bike and he was in the basket and I was chasing the background? I can't
Yeah,
remember. No,
was an
I'm just gonna say we
putting the baby to sleep.
We touched on the records, but for anybody who hasn't possibly heard them somehow, and for some reason follows this show, regardless, biggest home loss for the Suns in their 50-year franchise history. Good job on your 50-year opening anniversary.
And it was the what?
It was
The
tied
biggest win.
Yeah, biggest win of an opening night for anybody in
NBA
NBA history, and it was tied for our second highest win margin.
Yes, at
So-
48 points. I do have one fun fact for that game for you. And that was,
Fun.
who was the only player on the Blazers roster with a negative plus minus that night?
Well, Zach Collins.
Myers Leonard.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, I
Zach
read
Leonard.
that.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Yes, Myers Leonard, the
He
only
came out.
player.
Well, he came out for the last couple minutes and caught that 3 where they suddenly caught up and got
Yes.
from being down by 53 or whatever.
So
down
I
to
saw that
48.
game and I was like, oh, poor Myers. And when I read that stat later, I was like, I feel as though I'm vindicated in all of my hate.
I was not surprised.
The only
no.
other fun fact I have is that the Suns had more turnovers than assists that night. 16 turnovers,
Whoa,
10
I didn't
assists.
actually realize that.
76 points was also the fewest points that the Suns have scored all of this season. Up until that game, obviously, because it was opening game. And all of last season.
Wonder how far back you have to go. It's probably a couple years to get 76 points as a finishing score.
Yeah.
Yuck. Not for the Blazers. I think
Yeah,
we had that
Blazers-
once last year, maybe
Yeah,
twice.
I think we had
We had a lot of ugly games last year.
I remember going into the fourth with like 56 points or something.
You know
I
what?
was like,
You know what's
Oh
great
no,
though?
no! I think I can't pinpoint the game, but I do remember a game in which like the halftime score was them a shit ton of points and us like 36.
And it was something embarrassing too.
Yeah.
It was something embarrassing. Where the game shouldn't have been like that. Like it wasn't Golden State or the Cavs.
So speaking of embarrassing, let's move on to this week's upcoming games. And we've got the Suns again. Now that's the third game, but I want to start here.
It's the new look Suns. It'll be no Eric Bledsoe and no Earl Watson as the coach.
So
Even
on
younger.
that note, my first gut instinct was, so we won by 55 or what? But my second instinct, my second theory, is that every time I've been to a Blazer game and I bring in someone who's maybe new or barely goes to games or whatever, they sit next to me and they go, oh, we're playing this team whose ass we just kicked pretty hard. Yeah, no, we beat them by 35. We'll probably win by a lot this time.
And
the Blazers lose by
down.
25 or more.
Okay, side note, my
and I'm
tangent,
just here.
Blazers, if you're listening to me. So this man and I will
Apparently,
be at the...
Lillard is listening.
We'll be at that... Yeah, we'll see. We'll be at that game on Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
And under no circumstance, not him, because he doesn't like to do things with us.
I would be there.
He's
But-
also not a Blazer fan.
No.
It's a little late now.
But anyways, you can still buy a ticket.
Miss my window to come.
They're still
sit
on
with you.
sale. You just can't sit with us. Not the cool kids.
It's the
Please don't lose to the Suns. I cannot take it. Their team imploded in the beginning of the year when you won. And today, even further, do not lose.
Even better yet, though, don't get comfortable. Don't get comfortable. Don't think this game is an easy win.
Unless your comfortability is you shoving your foot farther down on their throat at any given point in time.
But you know what? If we're going to talk
Wasn't
about
the
games,
same
though,
loudness.
let's not bypass the...
Oh,
spill! And actually, that's going to kind of count.
That counts.
And it's all over his pants,
Hold
too.
on,
Oh,
hold
yeah.
on. I have
Yeah.
to have a happy dance moment
Yes.
because that was
Yeah.
the first beer spilt. That wasn't me.
Yes.
It was a hell of a bottle open though.
There'll be music to this.
Oh man.
Oh, thank
Luckily,
you.
I'm wearing dark pants.
I'm
think
just-
the dark
I could-
spots
I
After
can show
last
up on
ep-
camera.
after last
Oh,
episode-
you can see it. I can see it.
Oh, yeah. And I'm
The
enjoying
ring-
it.
But I don't know that the camera's gonna
No,
catch
after last episode, I thought the entirety of the season was you could have just renamed it Beers Ryan Spilt.
it. Well, now it's beers Ryan's spilt.
Plural, yes. Mini Ryans.
we now have to move the apostrophe.
All right.
So, upcoming game. Blazers, Pelicans, Boogie in the Brow. What are we
Have
thinking?
they
of
had
those?
The Twin
that
Towers.
nickname?
It's the nickname, yeah. It's kind of like OK3. So.
Under no circumstance should that ever take off.
I'm actually gonna use it consistently. I like that nickname. Boogie in the Brow is
this-
stupid,
No,
and I will still use it.
Boogie in the Brow is better. I feel as though that we could insert some sort of cartoon GIF.
It completely disregards the contributions of the out-injured but coming back soon, Rondo. Boogie the Brow.
Wait,
and-
Rondo already got injured?
Yeah, Rondo's
Yeah.
not in until he'll be back in like November.
Yeah, he's out for a
supposedly.
few
What
weeks.
the hell did he do? Dribble a basketball?
I think he tried to pass
Actually,
once.
I think he bruised
No.
his groin.
Knowing Rondo, he tried to shoot the ball.
Yeah, you got me. Sorry, I got that
I
backwards.
read the injury report looking for notables, and I almost put Rondo on there. I think he actually injured his groin.
But you know what the bright side is
So.
for those guys? When one of their big men goes out, they've got Omer Ashik as well. So it's just they've got big guys on top of big
Pronunciation, Ashik.
guys. Listen, it's Omer. He's
I wasn't pegging you on
That's
the
why
first
I
part.
say
I was
Greek freak. I don't even bother trying.
Antetokounmpo?
Yeah, no.
I'm
thanks.
just telling you.
Antetokounmpo?
I'm just telling you. I talked into
Tajukimbo?
my Google Assistant earlier today just to get proper pronunciation back in preparation for this show. That's how much I care.
Yeah, Greek freak. Everyone knows what Greek freak is. Who
No,
is.
it's I actually on our text thread keep calling him Giannis because I can spell that.
Giannis.
So who do you think coming up on that game tomorrow, which hopefully will not be a game that has already happened based off this man's editing abilities? So who do you think who guards who?
Oh, as far as the 4 and the 5?
Because do you
Do you think we run a bigger lineup? Like we bust out Ed Davis as
We're
the
already
starting
big.
4?
No. See, I kind of picture it as that it's a Mo Harkless and Al Farouk Aminu kind of thing. Because
Okay.
Chief was guarding. They
I
both
think you
traded
put-
off on the Greek Freak, but I think both of them. I can see Mo guarding Cousins because
Yeah.
Mo's kind of a take no crap kind of player.
Yeah.
Chief, he's the silent assassin. I can see him chasing Davis around
I
the
think I would put
three-point line.
Chief on him over Mo. Chief's the better defender. Actually, Chief is arguably next to maybe Nurkic.
Well,
the best
and
defender
Davis
on our
is their
team.
highest scorer,
Yeah.
so that would make sense. And then still leave Nurk in the middle as somebody who can patrol the paint for whatever kind of screen runoffs, whatever.
One could make an argument though, putting in. I mean, I know that none of us are huge Myers Leonard fans, but he is a big tall
If
guy.
Myers Leonard goes in there, he has to break a man's kneecap.
He has gravity, or he has, he demands gravity. Right? He's a big giant
The
object.
thing about Myers is if he does what the promise of Myers Leonard is,
Myers
he is
fulfills
a
his
very
destiny.
effective counter to exactly what they do. Like if they played Myers as the 4 with Nurkic out there and they draw one of those guys outside because Myers is actually somehow hitting threes or could hit threes and they think
Make
he
the
could.
exact same argument for Swanigan or Collins.
That's true. I'd actually
Actually, you can make a better argument for Swanigan.
This-
All right,
I'd-
Swanigan in this
yeah.
game.
Swanigan. So Biggie for the boogie. Biggie on boogie.
No, the thing
That's
that
what
I'd be in favor of that.
Biggie on. Okay, hashtag. You heard it here first. Biggie on boogie.
Oh man,
all right.
Do we like that?
I'm in favor of it.
I mean,
Okay.
I'm not against
At least
it.
at least as a backup strategy.
You know, the thing
I'm gonna
for me
actually. I'm
that-
gonna put it on Twitter right this second.
the thing for me that I want to look for. Oh, now that you actually have your phone,
It's happening. Biggie on
is
boogie.
that the Kings
Actually, I'm
do
gonna
not.
say it. It just looks weird. Okay.
Going right along, Ryan.
That was,
Hit me up, Woody.
hold on.
Oh, and you lost your train of thought.
And-
The wife commented on my Facebook post. It took over a
We're all
notification
just
down there.
we're all just distracted.
No,
right now.
no. So the lack of an offensive balance for the Kings.
Yeah.
I don't know if any.
Oh,
of you guys know
I pulled up the stats.
Oh, you know exactly.
Oh,
where I'm
I know
going.
exactly where
and
you're
that
going.
is that Cousins and Davis account for 55% of the team's scoring and 61% of the
They are
team's rebounds.
averaging 60 points. Averaging 3 games in, 60 points between the two of them.
Yeah, that's not sustainable.
And they've had 2 games that have been under 100 points as well, if I remember correctly.
So, with that said,
Correct me if I'm wrong.
that brings us to this week's Beer Bet of the Week. So those two guys averaging 60 points. Damon CJ actually
Don't
did the
look at my
math
notes.
earlier today. I'll
Already
just
got
go
my
ahead and
notes.
say it. They're averaging just north of 50 points a game
True.
for the two of them.
True.
So,
Wait, Biggie. Or sorry,
Damon
Boogie in the
CJ
Brow?
versus Boogie in the Brow. So the question is, which duo scores the most and by how many more points combined? That's our beer bet of the week. We're going to go ahead and let Ryan, Mr. Witty, you won the last 2 beer bets, so you have the honor of going first with your
So
number.
this is, the first big man tandem that they'll be facing. And so I felt as though I needed to actually dip down into last year and see what it came down to. At which point I was unpleasantly surprised because I actually thought it was going to heavily favor Cousins and Davis. They only played 1 game together when it was Davis and Cousins
Yeah.
and Lillard and CJ, and he's calling bullshit based off that look.
Wait. Keep talking.
No, that's not my prediction.
No, keep talking. Lillard and who?
Oh, McCullough, he's quoting a bad note. Moving right along.
It's
The
my.
spelling. Lillard and McCullough.
Anyways,
Moving right along.
Anyways.
but no. So the one game that those 4 faced each other last year, both had combined 37 points.
Interesting.
And
How did Damon CJ do in that game? I
So-
assume you've got that stat just ready to go.
I do. They did benefit is that Lillard and McCollum were 37 points on 30 shots. Lillard was...
So it was equal.
Yeah, no. Lillard was 8 for 18 for 29 points. McCollum was 4 for 12 for... Oh, that's actually a typo right there. I know that. 4 for 12 for 8 points.
So that's the typo.
There's
Got
other
it.
typos. Leave it alone. But anyways, Davis and Cousins 37 points on 37 shots, and Davis was 5 for 15 for 15 points, and Cousins was 9 for 22 for 22
Yuck.
points. Yeah, bad shooting numbers.
So, your
And-
conclusion, your bet, you're willing to say what?
I'm going, and so for this bet, I gotta put a point total on it,
Yep.
or just say who's gonna
It's
do
mine-
better.
You say who
Who
does
does better
better
in a combined
and
total.
how many points more they do better by. So that way we can have a clear loser.
Okay, so I'm giving Lillard and McCollum as the better. And I'm giving them that they best the Boogie and the Brow by 12 points.
Ooh. All right.
Yeah, actually, I lost the most last.
You lost the most.
So you go second. I go last.
Yep. And so
I already scored,
I was going to say the Blazers will win, but I was willing to bet that Boogie and the Brow were going to win this category. That those two will outscore our two, because those two are kind of the only thing going, especially with Rondo out. And so I was going to go ahead and give them 5 points over our two guys, knowing that realistically, once you drop off of those two on their team versus those two on ours, we're looking pretty good. So I was going to go ahead and say Boogie and the Brow by 5. And that leaves Brandon.
So I love the Blazers so much,
You can't call bull crap on ours.
no, because I want
You had Davis and him at by 5?
Yeah.
5 over the So
Boogie and the
I
Brow
also
by
have
5.
Boogie and the Brow leading in the points as well for the same exact reasons. They're the only
anti-homers.
no, they're the only two on the court. When you're the only two on the court, you can't.
And that's not to say that the Blazers don't win the game. I think the Blazers win the game. I just think
we
those
have better
two
players.
score all the shots for that other team.
So
Who's guarding Lillard and who's guarding McCollum on that team?
exactly.
So I was going to have
That's why I'm giving Lillard and McCollum by
But they
12.
come out swinging. Shabazz and ET get some minutes.
I was going to say a very low
ETs
number
earned all his
for the
minutes.
winning differential, but Green took that. So I'm going to have to play it safe, and I'm going to pick 7.
Oh, so you're going for the further end.
I'm going the further end.
Okay.
Wow,
You know
way
what my
to play in
favorite
the middle.
You know what my favorite part of these types of bets when this happens is? I'm not buying
Actually,
beer.
no, wait.
Nope, you just chose your number. It just
This is
locked
why
in.
I don't take shots before
As
the
I te-
game.
as I
I'm
texted-
saying it.
Brandon, as I texted earlier, so it has been written, so it is.
Okay. So now 7. So that said, I mean, Brandon, the downside is it's going to be trickier for me to win.
That's a very small window.
But
Well, one can argue to say that if you don't pay for beer, you win.
yeah, free beer is a win. And
So for
at
me,
least-
as long as the Blazers lose, as long as Davis and Boogie, or Boogie the Brow, score more points, then I win.
Boogie and the Brow. Get the Yogi Bear gif
Boogie and the Brow. Yeah.
already.
Yeah, I'm sure it's
I
already.
want a picnic basket.
All right. So we've talked 2 or 3 of the next games.
All right,
We
so
got 1 left.
Clips.
It's the Clips.
Yeah, just because, yeah.
And we're running low on time.
Yeah,
so
the Clips are actually looking pretty good, surprisingly.
Blake Griffin is
Beast
currently that is a man who's like F you all right now.
Yeah.
I watched that Lakers game, which
Yeah, but you're also
I
not
really
just
really
Blake.
wanted to
It's
down on
also DeAndre Jordan.
I really wanted to down on Ball at some point in time, but he came out the next game and blew it for almost
Yeah, I
like
wanted
30
to make
points.
fun of Ball too.
Side note, his dad, best marketing strategist ever.
Yeah, there's a thing on ESPN
man.
that's what is on Ball's feet. Came out weird. What is basically what shoes is he wearing? Like that's a thing now on ESPN. It's a tracker.
Oh, jeez.
Track
Oh,
what
because
what
because
Lonzo's wearing.
Yeah. No,
It is not the same crappy Asian shoes that CJ McCollum is wearing.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
kidding. Those are actually probably really good. We just never heard of them. because
Pronounce the
America.
company?
No. I am not going to do that.
Ling Ying or whatever or Ling
Li Yang.
Yeah, Li Yang.
Anyways, buy his shoes. But no, the thing that I noticed with the Clips is, and it kind of surprises me, is that without Chris Paul pushing the ball, without Jamal Crawford running the wing, is that they've actually decided to start pushing the tempo a hell of a lot more than they have in years past.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not even just the Lob City crap, but one of the things that I think is the key to beating them is you really do have to limit the fast break and limit their run opportunities.
And the other scary thing is, say what you want about him, because I hate his fucking guts. But Patrick Beverley's a hell of a defender.
Oh man.
And he has proven himself time and time
Patrick
again.
Beverley is a
to
hell of a
be-
defender when he says F you and your dad. That's
Well, yeah, but also, I mean, you put him on Dame, and I mean, Dame didn't score the shot on him. in that
Poor
Houston
Parsons.
series.
Poor
Yeah.
Parsons.
Chandler Parsons, may his career rest in peace. But anyhow,
Are they burying him in
Patrick
Texas?
Beverly is annoying as hell, and he's the type of guy I would love to have him as as like a backup 1-2 combo guy, because you just hate seeing him on the court. Like I watched a chunk of I think it was them versus who was the first game against? I already
Lakers?
forgotten. Yeah, that's right. I watched. Oh, that's right. That's what it was.
Isn't it
I watched
great-
him on Lonzo Ball.
Isn't it
And
great
was
that
just
you
so
can
good.
forget the Lakers?
We were just talking.
I
we're
just
still
feel so
talking
good about this. But like just watching him get inside Alonzo Ball's head was just beautiful. And I hate that guy.
I
but
love the
I
little steal
love
that he
him
made.
on any team that's not mine.
I love when they fell over when he just like.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was great. That was
There's like a meme of it now where he's like on the ground like this and he's just like.
No, and the one benefit that I mean, it's kind of hard because I think that was technically the Lakers' opening home game. I can't remember whose logo was on the court,
Lakers.
but okay. Well, this is still technically the only road game out of the Clippers' first like 7, 8, 9 games. When they play us, so that's the only time they have to travel. You know, I don't count it as traveling when you just have to take your bag from one locker room to the other.
I think I know.
And
I
watch
felt
him
like
change
we
the
looked
banners
good
out.
against him in the preseason. Now, mind you, preseason. But I feel like the matchups are right.
Look really good in the preseason
I mean,
too.
Patrick Beverly on Damian Lillard. He doesn't stop him, but he slows him
Have
down.
they dropped the banner yet? Brooklyn?
Oh yeah, the preseason champs.
Yeah, have they dropped the banner yet there?
Hey, say what you want. Alan Crabb scored 20 points tonight.
So,
Go Brooklyn.
they still
Anyway,
lost.
Name anybody else on Brooklyn.
well, there was that guy who they traded.
Name a name.
Exactly. So moving right along.
He's also the highest paid player. So
Is he really?
he is. I look at their
Alan
salaries.
Crabb is the
Lopez?
highest paid.
No.
No,
No,
Lopez
Lopez is
got
gone.
traded.
Oh no,
He's at
I
Lakers.
thought you were talking about the traded guy.
No, Lopez is the Lakers.
Yeah, that's outside Lonzo Ball. I mean, Brook Lopez looks like he's doing freaking fantastic.
He's the veteran player. He's
I
like
love how you
their
say
man.
veteran.
Well, you know, that's what you get for years with veterans. Veterans. All right, gentlemen, we have made it. Is there anything else we missed on your agenda? I double-checked my checklist, and it all looks good.
No, I mean, it involved way more scrolling than I wanted to do, you asshats.
Yeah, we managed
You're
to
welcome.
tangent our way through the show. So
I think that was both of your guys' mission going in. I want to bet that there was like a side text thread of like, how
So,
can we
gentlemen-
fuck with Witty?
oops, it's over there. I propose that we do not.
He's proposing.
Ooh. I propose we don't do shot of the week at the beginning of the show.
No.
I propose that the shot of the week is how we finish the show.
Here.
All right, until next time, ladies, gentlemen,
disagree,
boys, and
but I will
girls,
drink.
email podcast@blazertagpodcast.com. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Anything else I'm forgetting?
That's it.
right.
iTunes, Google Play.
Yeah, subscribe,
YouTube,
like,
all
do all
those
those
things.
things.
You're already on YouTube.
And
Get
if there is
notifications.
any question that you want us to address, leave it in the comments and we will possibly, consider it.
Ask a question. We will gladly pander to you.
Yeah.
Until next time, go Blazers.
Go
Blazers!
Blazers!
I have no beer.